is Valley News Live at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. Rural burglaries are on the rise, according to the Clay County Sheriff's Office. They say they've been inundated with calls to vacant properties, new homes, and construction sites in rural areas. Deputies say the crooks are looking for catalytic converters, tools, and anything that's not bolted down. If you live in Clay County and notice suspicious activity, you can call Red River Regional Dispatch at 701-451-7660. Coming up on Valley News Live at 5, Valley News Team's JC Dodd shows us how law enforcement are stepping up patrols to help property owners. Enbridge says the expansion of its Line 3 pipeline across Minnesota is complete and the oil will start flowing on Friday. The project was completed despite stiff opposition from tribes, environmentalists, and others, saying the 337-mile pipeline violated treaty rights, would worsen climate change, and would risk spills. Enbridge says it was necessary to replace the deteriorating pipeline. The line starts in Canada before crossing North Dakota and Minnesota. Now here's Hutch with a first look at your forecast. Hutch?
Stacy, thanks so much, and good late afternoon, everybody, on our Wednesday. Big changes. Take a look at this. Now there's some clouds west of Devil's Lake, and even the radar showing a little bit of activity making its way in that direction. But look at the change in temperature as opposed to 24 hours ago from right now. It's about the same in the Red River Valley and points west, but out in western and central portions of North Dakota right now, Dickinson, 43 degrees colder than it was yesterday at this time. That's got to be a slap in the face. It's 90 plus degrees in Hallock, 85 in Grand Forks, 87 at Hector, and it's in the mid 50s out to the west where there's some colder air heading our way. Let's play Find the Cold Front. Yeah, you guessed it, it's out to the west, and we do have the hottest air right now, Roseau County, Kitson County, and it's no picnic either in Polk County at 84 degrees in Crookston. And here is a look at that radar. First and foremost, we want to point out that there's some thunder and lightning with these, but I don't anticipate severe weather near Maddock right now. We're seeing a cell working its way through. There's also some in parts of Stutzman County here, just off to the north and west of you in Jamestown. This line will slowly make its way into the valley. I'll have hour-by-hour details on thunder and lightning in the forecast tonight. And that cool weather out to the west is heading our way too. I'll have details in a minute.
Find the Cold Front, one of my least favorite games. Yeah. Thanks, Hutch. Coronavirus cases in Clay County have decreased this week, but health officials tell us they're seeing hospitalizations as high as last winter. 363 cases were reported last week. There are 290 this week. They say hospitals are pretty close to capacity, and the average age of a patient hospitalized with COVID is 54.
If you're vaccinated, they say you can continue to do what you are doing, and also just really watch for symptoms. But it also, because we do have some breakthrough as limited it is, people are being encouraged to test 3 to 5 days after a known exposure.
Clay County Public Health is not offering the COVID-19 booster shot this week. The CDC issued an urgent health advisory today for pregnant women, urging them to get a COVID vaccine. And as Naomi Ruckham reports in New York City, the mayor says there's still time for teachers to get their shots ahead of Friday's deadline.
The CDC says urgent action is needed to increase COVID-19 vaccinations among women who are or were recently pregnant. Director Rochelle Walensky talked about what's at stake at a briefing Tuesday.
We know that pregnant women are at increased risk of severe disease, of hospitalization and ventilation. They're also at increased risk for adverse events to their baby.
The CDC says only 31% of pregnant people are vaccinated against COVID. The advisory comes amid a larger push to combat vaccine hesitancy. This New Jersey woman got her second shot Wednesday.
Maybe it might save my life. If I get the virus, it won't be as bad if I didn't have the shot.
At one hospital in Montana, 8 patients died in the past week from COVID-related symptoms.
You have good days, you have bad days. I have days I have to call my college buddies and say, hey man, it's been a bad day. We lost a tough patient last night.
But for the first time in months, the CDC is predicting new deaths from COVID-19 will likely decrease over the next 4 weeks. Here in New York City, the teachers union is warning of a possible staffing shortage following Friday's 5 p.m. vaccine deadline for school staff.
I will not be coerced into putting something into my body that does not fall in line with my religious faith.
Any day they're not vaccinated, they're not getting paid for.
The mayor says thousands of substitute teachers will be ready to fill in. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
An estimated 70 million vaccine-eligible Americans have yet to start vaccinations. United Airlines is starting the process of terminating nearly 600 employees who did not get the COVID vaccine. These employees also did not apply for health or religious exemptions. The deadline for meeting the vaccine mandate was on Monday. Some employees have sued United over the mandate. For a second day in a row, top defense officials face tough questions, this time from a House panel on the chaotic U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Natalie Brand reports from Capitol Hill.
Top U.S. military leaders were once again grilled over their advice to President Biden that a group of troops should have stayed on the ground in Afghanistan.
Were you of the opinion, in your professional military judgment, that we should have maintained 2,500 troops?
Yeah, my assessment that I read in the opening statement remained consistent.
Once again contradicting the president's statements during an ABC News interview last month.
No one said that to me that I can recall.
But Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley conceded that maintaining a presence beyond August would have imperiled U.S. troops.
I have no doubt that the Taliban would have reinitiated combat operations.
Meanwhile, an internal investigation into the August 29th drone strike that killed 10 civilians is ongoing. House lawmakers have called for the public release of intelligence leading up to it.
Undersecretary of Defense for Policy is engaged in finding the best way to move forward on an appropriate ex gratia payment and whatever other measures may be contemplated in regard to that family.
House members also pressed the military leaders on how they will monitor possible terror threats without a presence on the ground.
And we're looking at their ability to develop a capability to export terror to the homeland here.
The conditions could be set for a reconstitution of al-Qaeda and or ISIS.
Calling the Afghanistan war a strategic failure, General Milley and fellow witnesses acknowledged they did not foresee the swift fall of the country to the Taliban, which he says has emboldened the radical jihadi movement globally. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Also happening on Capitol Hill, a battle over funding the federal government with the clock ticking away. Congress has until midnight Thursday to make a deal. Otherwise, thousands could be furloughed and government agencies hampered. Republicans remain opposed to approving a funding bill tied to raising the debt ceiling, something Congress must do by October 18th or face a new recession. The president has been working behind closed doors to find common ground with moderate Senate Democrats opposed to the $3.5 trillion price tag on his social spending package. Without any Republican support, Democrats need all 50 senators to be on board. A Minnesota man is running 266 miles from Fargo to Stillwater, Minnesota for families who have been touched by cancer. It all started with Lori Weber's diagnosis of stage 2 pancreatic cancer back in 2016. A friend of the family asked if he could run to raise money for her, but Lori said she wasn't taking a dollar from anyone. In August of 2020, she passed away surrounded by her family, and Mark Dowell left Fargo today, running to keep Lori's legacy alive.
Something that I'm passionate about, and this running and combining it with people that I love, like the Webers.
We're going to do your run, but we're doing it for charity.
The nonprofit Love Like Lori Legacy was born as a way for the Weber family to give back what so many generous people gave them. The nonprofit is hoping to raise $20,000 this year. Mark plans to make it to Stillwater by Saturday. Thanks to your generosity, $32,000 has been raised to stock the shelves at the Great Plains Food Bank. Our goal is $50,000, and if we reach the goal, it could ensure 300,000 meals for our neighbors struggling with hunger. Just $1 can provide 3 meals.
You know, I can't imagine what it's like sitting at the table, looking at the bills or paying online and saying, now what do I choose? Because everything is important. Everything is so important. And so to relieve that anxiety and stress for a family, it's a wonderful gift that this community is providing.
Corwin Automotive is matching all gifts up to $50,000 made by tomorrow. You can find the link to donate right on our website, valleynewslive.com. Just look for the Stock the Shelves logo. Coming up, thousands in Louisiana still waiting for help after Hurricane Ida devastated the area. We'll tell you why the government says they're moving as fast as they can.
And a special thanks to you, your photos of all the lovely colors across the valley and beyond coming in. We appreciate all of them. Here's a look at where the colors are peaking in red. Lakes Country, northwest Minnesota, and the Arrowhead of Minnesota. Your hour-by-hour forecast includes thunder, lightning, rain, and much colder air. Details next.